left tackle until the guy returns?
We create as much competition as we can. That's the easy answer to it. Obviously it's unfortunate anytime you got guys that's going to miss. But it's also one of the reasons that we don't really believe in the kind of that old mentality of get the starters ready to play. We need to get everybody ready to play, and everybody on this roster needs to be getting better. And it sounds like a cliche thing, but I 100% believe in that, and I know that the head coach does too. So there's danger and opportunity, and we need to give several guys a chance to go out there and see what they can do. He's certainly got plenty of talent, and also a good guy who's smart and tough and willing to learn, and he's going to be in that mix of guys that are going to get more opportunities now as well.
DLLS Cowboys, I guess it was the best of the situation. I mean, I know there was some talk about him. I don't know if you feared ACL, but I mean, it's good news. Just if it could be good news, it's just a fractured bone. That you have a sigh of relief that okay, it's not for the season.
I don't know 100% all the specifics of everything, but that's certainly what it felt like yesterday. Was that the tone on the entire thing changed. Other than that, yeah, that's really all I know. Is it sounds like he's going to be back at some point.
Can you just talk about what you've seen from him? Since you came aboard, certainly he struggled a little bit as a rookie. Certainly he's been out there by all accounts since the end of the season. What have you seen from him? Can you talk about development you've seen from him?
Yeah, I think what you see is a young guy who's getting an opportunity to play and is growing and maturing. One of the things that I think that you see in this league relatively consistently with offensive linemen is they start to hit that 20-game start mark, and you do really start to see a difference in those guys. I don't know exactly what his total starts are. Obviously, there weren't a ton of them in college from what I remember during the draft process, but the bottom line is you get better at football by playing football, and Tyler Guyton is no exception to that rule. He is growing and learning and improving, and we're really excited about the direction that he was heading and will be heading when he gets back.
Clayton, Todd Archer with ESPN. Tyler Smith played left tackle his rookie year. Is that would you see him there, or do you want to keep that core in the middle together?
I think it's way too early to tell on that. Obviously, you love when players have good position flexibility, and he certainly has tons of flexibility, but that's not something that we've decided at this point.
And then can you talk about the dynamic between you and Shotty and what the meetings are like? I know he's calling it on the field, but how you guys go about your day-to-day business?
Yeah, no, it's been outstanding for me because I have someone who's got years and years and years of on-the-job experience in my job. So, the areas that I know that I need to improve on and the things that maybe I'm not totally looking ahead on because I haven't been in this situation, it keeps me from getting blindsided because, he's there to let me know, hey, you better be on top of this, you better be on top of that, or, just continually giving me feedback, which is incredibly valuable in my situation, is not necessarily criticizing, but just saying, hey, if you go about it like this, you're going to get this result. You go about it like this, you're going to get that result. And so, I am 100% the beneficiary of his experience in the past.
John Machota with The Athletic. What kind of stood out to you? I know it's early, but just from this running back group.
Yeah, I really like our running back group. I don't pay attention to a whole bunch of what's being said, but I really like the entire group. I think that there's two experienced vets in there that you can tell, guys that have played a lot of football in the National Football League, and I think there's good young talent. So there's all of them have a little bit of a different dynamic to them, but I'm excited about the different roles that can be carved out, and excited to see who can put themselves ahead in that group.
What's your early impressions of George Pickens?
Oh, GP's awesome. Yeah, I really like having him around. He's a big personality. He's fun. The two most important qualities to me is do you love football and are you a good teammate? And both of those things, he's been 100% so far.
Nick Harris, 4-Star Telegram. Last season, a lot of inside zone type movement bit from the offensive line. When you have that type of marriage of the guys and the experience they had last year, and you're coming in and you're trying to do your things as well. Take a guy like Terrence Steele for perspective. You get a guy that gets out in space really well. How are you able to marriage your concepts with what they were already doing so well in the past?
I think at the end of the day, if you were to watch all 32 teams in the NFL practice in the offseason, what you would see is that everybody kind of has the ability to do every scheme. That's been my experience with the places that I've been. And so the exciting part for me is always finding little things that maybe a guy that struggled in certain schemes is able to do well in other schemes. And so that's still where we're at right now is what do we do good? What do our guys do good? What is the head coach really comfortable calling? What sets up big plays on the outside really well? What marries our play action the best? Those are the processes that we're having right now. He's doing a great job. Extremely competitive, tough, mature beyond his years, which are all things that really stood out about him in the draft process. I'm excited to continue to watch him grow during camp.
Hey, Clayton. Patrick Walker, DallasCowboys.com. A lot of rightful talk and eyes are on guys like Terrence Steele and then some of the younger guys, the Tylers, but not a lot is being said about Cooper Beebe coming off of a solid rookie season at center. As an offensive line-minded coach, what are you seeing from Cooper that stands out the most, and what might he be in this league?
I think that one area that he's really grown is just communicating and kind of commanding the communication within the group, demanding that people are listening and making his IDs and some of the decisions that he has to make on the spot. He's making those with conviction right now, which we're excited about. The guy he's strong. He's got good balance. He's tough. He's very consistent. And, just like everybody else, I'm excited to see what happens tomorrow. Not as much of what happened yesterday, because I do see him growing.
Also, to follow up on that, obviously this is a reunion with Cooper Beebe and Connor Riley. What has that relationship been like from your observation?
I think that's to our advantage for sure, because he's got a great feel for what type of player Cooper Beebe is. And also I think that when you have a relationship like that, that you're not having to build as much of one. I'm sure their relationship is even going deeper now that he's coaching him in the professional realm. But it's an unbelievable foundation to start on with a player, because anytime you're trying to coach a guy, whether it's from a position coach perspective or a coordinator perspective or an assistant position coach's perspective, if they know you, they know how you are and that you care about them, they're willing to listen to you even a little bit more if they know that you're in their corner. And obviously, Beebe and Riley have that.
Tommy Yarsh, DallasCowboys.com. When you have guys injured like Rob Jones and Tyler Guyton, you've got to move some guys around. How do you determine position flex for some guys, whether they can move from guard to tackle or the other way around, if maybe it's something they haven't done as much or they need to go to the opposite side of the line?
Yeah, you got to do it. And nobody is ever excited about guys getting injured. It happens to be part of the game, but it's an unfortunate part of the game. But the other side of that, and I think I alluded to it earlier and maybe even said it backwards, but there's opportunity when you have adversity. And so there's going to be guys that are getting reps that they wouldn't have been getting. And there's going to be guys that are getting reps at different spots that they might not have been getting before. And all of that, to a certain extent, can be exciting because we're going to find something out. We're going to find something out that we didn't know before. And I think that can be to our advantage, and that's the way that we need to look at it. We get the guys back as fast as we can get them back off of injury, but in the meantime, we need to be excited about attacking the opportunity that we have to put guys at different positions, develop them, and coach them there.
Joe Hoyt, Dallas Morning News. You kind of said earlier that every team has the capability to run different things, but then you kind of refine it as you go. Tyler Smith talks about 5 as 1 when it comes to offensive linemen. How much are you also trying to find out what each of the collectives kind of do well in terms of your offensive line combinations and refine it from there?
Yeah, 100%. To me, that's the starting point is, are we better at outside zone combos or inside zone combos? Are we better at pin pull schemes? You know, are we great getting out on the perimeter and making blocks in space? What's our range look like? Those are all really, really fun questions to answer, and that's one of the best things about training camp. And then from there you go, wow, this guy can do X really, really well. I can't wait to watch that one go during a game, you know, or whatever. Or you know what, gosh dang it, I really, really love this scheme, but this just isn't who we are. Let's find a different way to take advantage of that piece of the defense.
How much does that vary too, depending on, especially with the left tackle opening right now while Tyler Guyton's out, different guys are putting in there and trying to figure out, hey, maybe this guy does this well with that guy, but maybe this guy does that thing well with that guy. How much does that vary?
I think that there certainly is some variation, but I think that you also have to have the ability to keep in mind of what you think you're going to have week 1 or what you think you're going to have week 2, and try to, you know, continue to lean into that.
Coach Sam Gannon, Fox 4 in Dallas. When you have CD's style of play and then Pickens' style of play, what about that combination together excites you most? CD was saying that there's things Pickens can do that we haven't even seen yet.
Yeah, I'm excited to see some of those things just as we continue to go. The bottom line is that when you have one of those guys on either side of the formation and a running game in the middle, it's tough to defend. And so that's what we're trying to develop right now. In regards to what you like to do with each of those receivers, I mean, that's when you're designing pass game, that's what you're trying to do is I'm going to put this guy on this route because he wins that way, or vice versa if somebody's not as good at doing something. So, you know, really the long and short answer of it is it's just really the presence of having a threat on either side and the ability to, the way I would describe it, kind of bash the middle of the defense in. It gives you an advantage when you can do that, and that's what we're trying to develop.
Coach, Sydney Staples, DG10 Sports. Coach Eberflus said that you are the best in the business. How does that make you feel?
He didn't mean that. No, I mean, listen, I kind of cut my teeth in the NFL being around Matt Eberflus in Indianapolis. And so having worked with him from the point where I was an assistant offensive line coach to the tight end coach, and then coaching against him both years that I was in Arizona and he was in Chicago, being able to come back and work with him here was unbelievable for me personally, because I have so much respect for the guy and the way that he coaches. And there's a lot that I've learned about the way that I want offenses to play and the way that I want offensive lines to play based on what I used to watch at practice when we were in Indianapolis. And I just remember thinking, if I'm ever an offensive coordinator in this league one day, I want our offense to play like that. And so he's been a big inspiration for me in a ton of different ways, and I've got a ton of respect for him. I'm very glad to be on the same team.
What are some of those non-negotiables for your offense that you didn't?
I always thought that before you ever pull the pen out and start drawing on the board, that everybody has to be running all the time and playing the game like they're 6 years old. And so that was always, I remember one of our first practices that I was in Indianapolis, I think we turned the ball over like 4 times. And I was like, gosh, we're not very good. We're not gonna win a lot of games doing that. And one of the other guys on the staff was like, that's just tough, man. Those guys, they rip at it, they punch at it. They're just absolutely relentless with it. So at the end of the day, it's anything else is like, you can't prioritize everything. But the things that you do prioritize, the players in this league will do them, and they'll buy into them if they know that it's realistic for them to achieve. And so those are, you know, to me, the effort piece, the intensity piece, you know, one of the things that is a core foundation of what we want to do on offense is running and hitting at every single position. Probably not at quarterback, but, you know, that a lot of that philosophical piece comes from watching defense.
East Texas. How well has Joe Milton fit into your system, considering where he was a year ago at this time?
I don't know where he was a year ago at this time, but I can tell you that everybody in the building has been really pleased with Joe and the effort that he's putting forward, and the just the humility that he's shown to say, like, I'm going to learn from Dak Prescott, and, you know, Dak having a really open and willingness to help Joe, and Will Greer as well. I mean, that room is really three dudes that really care about each other and are constantly looking to help each other out. And so I think Joe likes that. I think Joe appreciates that. And we certainly enjoy having him around here. He's a very talented guy and a good person.
Bill Jones, CBS Texas. How would you describe the chemistry on this coaching staff and the energy that we see out on the field? Where does that come from?
I think at the end of the day, it's like we want the players to play like they're 9 years old a little bit, in terms of, like, it's supposed to be fun, right? And I've always felt like coaching is supposed to be that way as well. And Brian Schottenheimer gives us the ability to do that, just in terms of, like, it doesn't need to be a coat and tie dinner out there, right? We're practicing football. So running around and having a good time and screaming and yelling, and like that, to me, that's a little bit, not a little bit, I mean, it's a huge part of the thing. So we need to be on top of what the guys are supposed to be doing, obviously, and we're professionals. So to me, that's a non-negotiable and probably the easier part. But if we're just standing around and we look bored, I mean, what are those guys supposed to think? You know, I mean, we got a long road ahead of us here to February or whatever it ends up being. So we're going to be together out there a lot. It might as well be fun.
What's the fine when a player's phone goes off in meetings?
I don't know. I didn't hear it. Somebody started coughing. Like, I got you. We're good.
All right, Clarence. Hakeem Adeniji, he jumped in at right tackle when Steele was out. Can you talk about him, what you seen from him? And he's an option to move it up tackle. He's only kind of worked at right tackle so far.
Yeah, Akeem's done a nice job so far. And one of the things that you always hope when you put a piece in with a group, like, you know, whatever, you got your five guys that have been working together mostly, when you add another piece to that group, one of the things early on that you hope is, like, I hope we're really not noticing him very much. And that was kind of the trend early on, was it's been relatively quiet over there. He's doing a nice job. In regards to position flex, you know, we tell all of our guys that unless you are an all-pro at left guard or right tackle or whatever, you need to be able to play as many spots as you can possibly play. And so if you're going to be the third tackle, we ain't going to carry a backup left tackle and a backup right tackle more than likely. So you need to be able to play both spots. And obviously, if you can play multiple positions, that's important as well.
Jaden Blue, obviously, rookie draft pick. A lot of talk about him and his work ethic coming since he joined the Cowboys. Can you just talk about his growth, what you've seen from him so far in camp? Yeah,
Jaden's been awesome. He's fun to be around. He's got a bubbly personality, loves football, extremely competitive. And, you know, when the ball's in his hands, exciting things happen. So, again, like, it feels like we got here 10 seconds ago, but we're a week into camp, and I can't wait till tomorrow to see what some of these guys are going to do, because he's, in my opinion, blossoming.
When it comes to using pre-snap motion, this offense was 29th in the NFL last year. The Cardinals were 27th. From a philosophical standpoint, A, do you believe in pre-snap motion and being able to create an advantage? And then B, as well, we've seen a lot more of it on the field out here. How do you think the challenges have come about in implementing that system?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a time and a place for everything. And when you have the ability to do something that gives you an advantage, you're going to do it more. One of the great things about doing that when you're practicing is it sometimes can create a little bit of chaos for IDs and some of the interior pieces, the offensive line, the tight ends, sometimes even the quarterback. And if it gives us information, then obviously it's 100% worth it. The advantage of creating a little bit of chaos for those guys is we need to manufacture some adversity and make their jobs hard. These guys are really smart, and so if we just line up and give them the premier look all the time, they're not going to be able to respond when gray area hits in the game. And so sometimes it's that, sometimes it's taking advantage of things, sometimes it's just practicing something a little bit different.
Alrighty, thank you, Coach.
Yeah, thank you guys.